America 2025, the shattered dream, an unprecedented homelessness crisis. As the U.S. enters 2025, it faces harsh economic challenges, tightened financial policies, high taxes, and stricter immigration laws than ever before. But beneath the glitz and glamour of its megacities, a heartbreaking reality unfolds: hundreds of thousands of homeless individuals struggling to survive on the cold streets. The American dream, once a symbol of opportunity and prosperity, now feels like a nightmare for those unable to keep up with the whirlwind of instability. Is there a way out of this crisis? In today's travel documentary, we will uncover the truth. Press 1 and join us as we dive into the dark side of New York. New York, a symbol of prosperity and opportunity, is facing a severe homelessness crisis. With over 77,000 people lacking stable housing, the city ranks second in the U.S. for its homeless population. The cost of living has skyrocketed, with average rent in Brooklyn reaching $3,000 per month, pushing many into homelessness. While support systems exist, overcrowded shelters leave thousands without a safe place to stay. The mental health crisis further exacerbates the situation, trapping many in a cycle of homelessness with no escape. As skyscrapers rise higher, thousands struggle daily on the freezing sidewalks, a heartbreaking paradox in the heart of the city that never sleeps. Los Angeles, once known as the City of Dreams, is now at the center of America's homelessness crisis. The bright lights of Hollywood stand in stark contrast to the sprawling tent encampments in downtown and along Venice Beach. Los Angeles County alone accounts for a significant portion of California's homeless population, while the state itself makes up nearly half of the entire nation's homeless residents. Rent prices have soared, with the average cost of a one-bedroom apartment reaching $2,500 per month, yet many people's incomes have remained stagnant. Meanwhile, housing assistance programs, though in place, fall short of meeting the rapidly growing crisis. Luxury apartments rise just blocks away from makeshift tent cities, highlighting the stark inequality gripping the city. Los Angeles was once a destination for dreamers, but for tens of thousands, that dream has been reduced to nothing more than a flimsy tarp under the cold concrete bridges. San Francisco, the hub of innovation and technology, is facing a homelessness crisis more severe than ever. The city has one of the highest per capita homelessness rates in the United States, with thousands forced to live on the crowded streets of Tenderloin and the Mission District. Just a few blocks away from gleaming tech offices, makeshift shelters of tents and cardboard serve as homes for many. With average rent soaring to $3,500 per month, housing is far beyond the reach of low-income workers, leaving many residents without a place to live. At the same time, drug addiction and mental health crises are overwhelming the city's support systems. San Francisco has experimented with various solutions, from expanding shelters to developing affordable housing projects, but the speed of implementation has not kept pace with the scale of the crisis. Once a symbol of innovation, San Francisco now struggles in a seemingly endless battle against homelessness. The homelessness crisis in the U.S. is not just an individual issue but stems from systemic factors. A severe shortage of 7.3 million affordable housing units has left many workers unable to find accommodations that match their income. Meanwhile, the American economy continues to grow, but the benefits primarily flow to high-income earners, widening the wealth gap. Low-wage workers struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living, especially skyrocketing rent prices. The polarized job market further pushes many to the margins of society. High-paying tech jobs are available to only a select few, while the majority are trapped in low-wage service jobs that barely cover basic expenses. With no middle class to bridge the gap, millions find themselves in precarious situations, without stable housing, an inevitable consequence of economic imbalance in the U.S. Although many cities in the U.S. have received funding to address homelessness, the amount remains far too little compared to the scale of the crisis, making housing programs feel like a mere drop in the ocean. Mental health and addiction treatment centers are also overwhelmed, as the number of people in need continues to rise while resources remain limited. Meanwhile, the social safety net, expected to be a lifeline, falls short due to complex bureaucratic processes and insufficient aid that fails to lift people out of homelessness. As a result, hundreds of thousands remain trapped on the streets, unable to access the support they desperately need. Until these gaps are addressed, the homelessness crisis in the U.S. is only likely to worsen. In response to the worsening homelessness crisis, the U.S. government has been implementing various measures to ease the burden, but results remain limited. Housing policy is one of the key solutions, with the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit (LEAT) program having helped build over 3.5 million affordable housing units since its inception. However, this number is still far from enough to bridge the nationwide shortfall of 7.3 million affordable homes. The Section 8 housing voucher program currently assists approximately 2.3 million households, but millions more remain on long waiting lists, sometimes for years, before receiving aid. In the healthcare sector, the budget for mental health support and addiction treatment was increased to $4.2 billion in 2025, enabling the expansion of more than 300 mobile clinics nationwide. However, the number of doctors and counselors remains insufficient to meet the growing demand, as over 25% of homeless individuals suffer from severe mental illness without timely treatment. Rehabilitation centers are also overwhelmed, with waiting lists stretching for months. Economically, the government has invested in job training programs to help low-income workers gain access to stable employment. These programs have supported over 500,000 people in the past 5 years, focusing on industries such as construction, technology, and services. However, the average wage for manual labor jobs remains around $16 per hour, significantly lower than what is needed to cover living expenses in major cities. Although these policies have yielded some positive results, the reality is that homelessness continues to rise. In 2024 alone, the number of homeless people in the U.S. increased by 18%, reaching a record high of nearly 800,000. Without more decisive reforms in housing, healthcare, and employment, this crisis could persist for many years to come. We come to the end of this travel documentary, and I'm left with a mix of emotions, disappointment and hope. Disappointment because here we are in 2025, still counting record-breaking numbers. Hope because the solutions are within reach if we choose to embrace them. What do you think? Can America turn this around, or are we stuck in this cycle forever? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if this story moved you, please give me a like and subscribe for more. Thank you for joining me on this journey.